Warning, this video contains a lot of math, so if you don't like math, skip to 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So before we get started, we're going to need a lot of variables. So first off the basics, we're going to be level 100 wizard with no damage boost, and we're going to be using mana vamp. And the max HP of the target that we're killing is about 819 million. That's just the amount of HP the monster has. And the damage that Dry Lightning does without a crit is 2,101, and the damage that it does with a crit is 6,421. Now we do that same thing for each of its spells: Ancestor's Flame, Hydrophobia, Elemental Embrace, and its auto attack, and also for Mana Vamp. And from this, we can find its crit multiplier, which, dividing the crit by the base, is going to be 3.055. With a little bit of extra decimals, but that's about it. And crit chance we can find on the stat panel, adding in the extra crit chance and intellect from the passive. And haste we can also find from the stat panel, adding in the extra intellect that you get from its passive. So next we are going to need to find every single damage source that is going to be damaging this monster, and then create an equation for it which tells us our DPS. So using U as the variable for basically how much damage it's doing, and using N as the variable for how many stacks of Elemental Embrace you have, we can create the equation for first Ancestor's Flame, which is going to be shown on screen. I'm not going to go really in depth into these equations because I don't want this video to be super long, but here's basically Ancestor's Flame DPS. Then we have our next spell, Hydrophobia, which is a little bit simpler because its damage doesn't scale off of Elemental Embrace. Then we have Dry Lightning, which is similar to Ancestor's Flame. Then we have Elemental Embrace, which is really simple because its damage doesn't scale and it doesn't crit. And then we have our auto attacks, and then we have Mana Vamp. So if we combine all of those equations that you saw on the previous screen, it creates this pile of junk right here, which is basically Shaman's total DPS. Now if we find the integral of this, it can actually tell us how long it'll take to kill Akriloth. So if you don't know what an integral is, in its most basic form, it is the area under a graph, using this funky symbol. So basically the area under the graph of the equations that I had in the previous section is going to tell us the amount of total damage done over a certain time. So here is our integral. Basically we are setting the integral of the entire equation equal to how much HP the monster has. And the integral is going up to a certain time, so basically we are finding at what time have we done damage that is equal to the monster's HP. You know, because when you deal damage equal to the monster's HP, the monster dies. So I personally did not know how to solve this integral, so I had to guess and check using calculators, and I eventually found an answer that was close enough. It is an estimate, but it is really close, and that is 3,215 seconds, or about 53 minutes.